Raid Shadow Legends is one of those games that gives you the option of playing as super casual whenever you have the time, log in and play once in a while, or play as a super efficient player who tries to achieve everything in the game to the point. In this video, I'm going to be talking about my key moments in Raid Shadow Legends in the 2 years that I've been playing this game that actually changed my account for the better. Now you can actually play this game as a super efficient player or as a totally casual player who doesn't care about progression, or you're just logging in and doing whatever you want. You can actually have a mixture of these two ways of playing the game based on how much time you have. So let's get to my first point in this video, which is campaign. Now this video might be very beneficial for those players who are starting new and want to follow the second method of playing the game, where you are trying to beat everything super efficient method, not just casual. It will also serve as a review for older players who want to take a look at their journey through the game, and maybe you let me know in the comments below which of these ones resonates with you. So the first one, they're in no particular order, but just as I think about them, I think campaign was the first game-changing moment for me when I beat Brutal 12-3. So by beating this Brutal 12-3, it kind of opens up the game for you, because I know players who can beat it in 1 week. There are players who are 6 months into the game, they still can't beat Brutal 12-3. Why? Because they don't have a campaign farmer to 60, or they don't have masteries on their campaign farmer, or they chose a wrong campaign farmer. They decided to build another champion that does single target hits instead of an AoE damage over here in the campaign, because maybe they are casual players, or they are playing super efficient, but they didn't know that their campaign farmer has to be an AoE and has to be 60 and has to have masteries to be able to farm this stage, or maybe they don't even know that this is the perfect stage for you to be farming. All I'm saying is you need to be able to beat the campaign at a reasonable amount of time for you to get more 60s. Now the first level 60, whether it's Scale, whether it's Elhain, any one you choose as your starter, your first level 60 farmer will take you some time to get to 60. It does happen, a week or a month, depends on how much you played. But when you finally get that first level 60 farmer to 60, the other 60s you need to progress your account shouldn't take that long. So why it's a game changer for me is because after getting my first level 60 farmer, I was able to get my other 60s faster. So whether it's High Cartoon, whether it's War Maiden, whether it's Frozen Banshee, any other champions I was taking to 60, I was able to do it at faster level. So it's all about efficiency and speed, and not just wasting resources in lower levels of campaign because you don't have a campaign farmer that can do 12-3 brutal. So that's the key moment for me, the first time in the game where I hit like a power spike, where I say, okay, now I have arrived in the game and I can get more level 60s easier and not farm XPs for champions at a lower stage. So a reasonable time for campaign farming, if you consider it, whether it's 10 seconds, whether it's 12 seconds, whether it's 15 seconds, 20 seconds, it's fine. As long as you're not doing a whole 60 minutes of campaign farming, when you get in there, you should just be able to do a reasonable time. So it's not saying you must have a very fast campaign farmer. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying get your campaign farmer to 60, and then the other champions should be able to get to 60 faster, as long as you're doing a sub 30 seconds campaign farming. So this is not a flex, by the way, but this is my campaign farmer at the end game right now, and no longer the beginner ones I used to use, like Atel was my main starter champion at then. So that's a 8 seconds farmer right there, which can be 7 seconds if I was not recording. So the next item on the list is Dungeon 20. Now after campaign farming is done and you're getting your champions to 60 easily, the next item that I considered a game-changing moment for me was not when I started farming Dungeon 13 or Spider 13 or beating 17. No, all those processes of the dungeon, you always felt like you are not getting the best gear. You always felt like you are performing below your expectations, because your champions could not do other levels that were clearly there for you to beat. So Dungeon 20 at that point in the game when I was playing was the highest level of the dungeons. Now I'm not talking about this other, let's head over to the dungeons so you see what I'm not talking about. The spirit keep or the magic keeps, or no, I'm talking about dungeons in general, which when we talk about dungeons is we are talking about dragon, spider, maybe minotaur grind, not really fire knight and ice golem. We don't consider those part of the dungeons. There's a good reason for it. It's just there for decorations, I guess, except the fire knight, which is an end game content. So anyways, the dungeons I'm talking about is dragon, spider, and minotaur grind. So by the time you hit level 20s, or the highest level, which was 15 at that point here, and 20 in spider, although the dragon being priority, this was the milestone on the account that changed everything. I felt like I was not getting the best gear at 14, 15, 16. Even on my noob to pro, I can clearly see that I've been farming dragon 17 for a while, and it was clearly not the best gear until now that we've started farming dragon 20 on the noob to pro. Now we can finally beat some higher content. It's a clear difference between 16, 17, 18 and 20. So this was the next milestone for me, dragon 20. So when you finally are able to get here, dragon 20, it will change your gear, because your champions, even if they are 60, even if they have full masteries, they still need good gear with good stats to perform better. So that's where the power spike comes from farming a long time. Now, some people think it's a week farming or a month farming. No, it takes about 2 months or 3 months to get the gear required to change your account for the better. So don't worry, you'll finally get there, and that was a milestone. Now, I don't consider farming dragon 25, or now that we are new, we are older in the game, this is not that much of a milestone, I don't think, except you're an end game player and you have started to replace all your 5-star gear with 6-star epic and legendary gear. That's when you consider this your next milestone. But for a general player, 20 dungeons is a huge milestone to aim for. So all you're trying to do in the game at the first time, campaign 60, the second one, dungeon 20. The next item on my list, generally I'll say, is clan boss difficulty. Now, I didn't say brutal nightmare or ultra nightmare, right? I just said clan boss difficulty. Why? Because I feel like no matter where you are in the game at that beginning stage, let's say you're beating clan boss on easy, you feel like you can do better. When you finally get the gear to do better, you beat clan boss on normal, and so you progress to hard. You clearly see a difference between the rewards you used to get for easy and a clear difference between the rewards you now get for hard clan boss. So that's why I said it's all about the difficulty. So no matter where you are in the game, as long as you keep progressing this clan boss difficulty and not get stuck in one particular difficulty for an extended period of time without trying to go to the next one, you're good to go. So have a clan boss difficulty, the next one, as your next goal. Even if you're beating easy right now, have hard as your next goal. If you're beating brutal right now, have nightmare as your next goal. Don't just be complacent and comfortable in one particular level when you know the next one will give you a better reward. So that's what I will talk about the clan boss. Now, for a real game-changing moment for me for the clan boss was when I reached ultra nightmare. That was the game-changing moment, because now I can finally get these shards that was so, difficult to get. I'm talking about the sacred shards. They were so difficult to get as a free-to-play player. This was the best way for me to get it. Why did I want this shard? Because I wanted an equal opportunity to get access to legendary champions and epic champions that every other players who were paying for it had. So once I hit this ultra nightmare, I now kind of felt like my account was beginning to get legendary champions a lot and epic champions a lot, because I was pulling a lot of these ones from the ultra nightmare clan boss. And also it does drop for the nightmare, but not as consistent. But so whenever I pick up my rewards for the ultra nightmare, I always think I have a 50% chance of being a sacred shard or an epic legendary skill tome. So it's always one of those two. I feel so happy clicking that button, and then when you see the ancient drop for me, you're like, come on, it's an ultra nightmare chest, why are you dropping me ancients? Anyways, so that was a key moment for me when I finally was able to do ultra nightmare. Even if it was a 3 key, it was a 4 key once, I thought it wasn't worth it. I decided to stick with nightmare, and finally I could do a 3 key, and it was a total team that could be killable. I have a video about it, my clan boss team that could do ultra nightmare. I'll pin it here if you're trying to push this, so you see the stats I used to achieve that. It's not on an unkillable team. So I'm not talking about having Manita, Pinkeeper. I'm not talking about champions in need. I'm saying whatever you have to do to reach it, get here. Don't say, oh, until I get a Manita and a Pinkeeper, that's when I'll push Ultra Nightmare. No, there are many teams, there are many stats you can build, different ways to get here with even a killable team that can survive and do a 2-key or a 3-key over here. So by the time I hit 2-key on Ultra Nightmare, 1-key and Nightmare, 1-key and Brutal, like I do now every day, I don't know if that's a flex or that's also another game-changing moment, because now it gives me access to all the rewards that I needed daily. So that's a huge game-changing moment there. It's supposed to be a priority for most players, but because of you have a lot of things you're focusing on, you kind of have to wait till you have the gear to push the next level. I totally understand if you're not doing it yet, but have this as a next milestone for you. The clan boss is one of the most enjoyable content in Raid that I like to play. Even if I'm currently at the Ultra Nightmare where I just log in and do my keys, I still find it as a engaging content even more than the Hydra. So you'll not hear me mentioning the Hydra in this video. It's not a game-changing moment for me. The next one that I'll talk about is the Arbiter. Every player who comes in here is well aware that the arena is a mess if you don't have a speed booster. And when you start going against champions in the arena with your high cartoon, with your apothecary, and all you're seeing in your team enemies roster is Arbiter, 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 you're like, God, when will I have my own Arbiter? And there's a hurdle between your Arbiter missions and you, which is the gold, rich gold 1, rich gold 2, you know, all those missions on the arena, that even the revamp, it's still a little bit difficult to beat because of the arena is a mess right now. So having this Arbiter was seen as a requirement to get, you know, better rewards in the what do you call it now, clan gold. Yes, but better clan gold and even better rewards anywhere else in the game, because the Great Hall as a whole kind of improves your stats in general. So if you're trying to build your Great Hall, you needed to get the Arbiter. So it became a real hurdle for most players, and it's right here in the missions. And if you've not done it yet, set it as your goal, because this Arbiter is totally worth it. Every player in the arena, even if you're not trying to push the higher levels of the arena, at least you need to be able to comfortably win 70 to 80% of your battles when you have an Arbiter. So even if your enemies have an Arbiter, you have an Arbiter, it gives you an equal level playing field. Not coming to an Arbiter with a high cartoon and feel like, oh, I want to have a 50% chance. No, that's a clearly 20 to 80% chance. You are the 20, while the enemy player with the Arbiter is more of a 80% chance of going first and nuking you. So it gives you a 50% chance of, you know, having that battle go in your favor. So that's what I think about it. The arena is not a great content to enjoy, but because of it gives a lot of greater things that you need to progress these other areas of the game, both dungeon and clan boss. That's why a lot of people have to focus on it. If you don't focus on your Great Hall development, your clan boss and your dungeon progression will suffer. Take note of that. All right, that's what I should mention. The next milestone for me is definitely not this Roman 2 Drake blood. So we'll talk about the next milestone when I finish all the 5 that I wanted to list out for you. So apart from the Arbiter missions, the last one I have on my list is Faction Wars. That was a great milestone when I was able to get my Faction Wars completed. If you do not know, I have a series where I put all the Faction War bosses that I beat 21 and the teams that I built to beat them. I'll click the card above there. You can watch that video at the end of this one, of course. So my endgame account has successfully beat all the Faction War bosses on 21, except this new one, Shadow King, that was just opened, and I'm taking my time on that one because I already claimed all the rewards I needed. Now, why is the Faction Wars the next great game-changing moment for me? It was because of Lydia. If you already have a Draco who has decreased defense and weaken on an AoE, this might not be so important for you. but because even on faction war 20 you can still get the same great hall medals, I mean what the glyphs that you get on 21. So the purpose of me beating 21 wasn't to get better glyphs in the faction wars. It was just to get a champion that can do decreased defense and weaken. Why is that so important? You're running around the entire game playing with your champions that can do decreased defense, like your Stag Knight, your War Maiden, your Duke de Pierce. You're happy like they can place decreased defense and you nuke, right? When you have decreased defense and weaken, it totally melts the enemies. Your damage improves a lot. So that's something I found that a lot of players did not understand, that weaken is so important. Even it's not just for bosses but for general wave content. Decrease defense and weaken, make sure your damage dealers do a lot more damage. So decrease defense alone is good. Decrease defense and weaken is super awesome. So that was my incentive why I actually pushed Lydia. It wasn't for her other skills of block revive and all that stuff. Yeah, that's also a good advantage or a good reason to go for this champion because of that block revive that is useful. But the main reason I needed my Lydia was for decrease defense and weaken. Now the block revive comes in handy too now in other content, and I actually started enjoying it. But it wasn't my goal at first. So that was a game-changing moment for me, and I began to beat higher dungeon content. 25, 25, 25 right now in all dungeon content, and I can actually now push higher Doom Tower hard content because of decreased defense and weaken also. So that's something I thought I should mention as also another game-changing moment for my account. That's the 5 I wanted to list out in this video in that particular order. That's also how I achieved them. Now for an end game account like mine is for 2 years now, what should be the next thing I should focus on? What should be the next milestone that is I'm currently setting for myself? If you've been watching my series, you know that my next milestone that I set for myself, it's not that enjoyable, it's not as epic as these ones. It's to beat the Doom Tower on hard. Doom Tower normal is good, but Doom Tower on hard bosses, they do drop a lot of rewards, but it's not one of those ones that you feel like you beat the Doom Tower hard and you get an awesome reward that changes your account. It's not a game-changing moment. I've already beaten the Doom Tower hard on the previous rotation. I didn't feel like it changed my account. It just felt like a challenge that gave me a bunch of free resources. So I felt like a farming spree where I was just farming, getting free things to play the game more. And that's what it felt like. And at the end, they gave me a banner to show that, hey, you have a icon, display icon to show that you beat it for flex. So Doom Tower hard, it's a flex. It's not a real game-changing moment. It's just a new challenge that can keep you playing the game so you don't get bored of the other achievements you've already achieved and you have nothing else to push for. Now the Roman 2, I say that that's not a new one for me because the missions still require you to do that. So you can see me, it says craft this, do this. I'm paying no mind to these ones. Whenever I can do them, I do them. I'm not saying I will push immediately. I try to, like I was stuck at the one mission around here that says reach Silver 2 in Tag Arena. I didn't even pay any mind to it. I wasn't even trying to push. I was still using one star defense, one defense champions in Tag Arena during reset because I wasn't bothered about pushing that mission that says reach Silver 2. So Doom Tower hard is one. Roman 2 is not another one. And part of the end game now, the one that I'm trying to do, if you've also been watching the videos, is to get level 25 faster teams. Now this is also a weird flex. It's not one of those ones that is a real game-changing moment. So I've already posted a video about my Dragon 25 team. I already have a Dragon 25 team that can do it well, but now I try to push a video that can do it in a faster time. So I try to do one of these teams that can do a very, now you know what I'm talking about, a 20 seconds, 30 seconds, maybe 1 minute Dragon 25 run. So that's the next flex that I'm trying to achieve for my endgame account. It's not also one of those game-changing moments. It's just one of those flex moments also. So as an endgame player, I'm just trying to get weird flexes right now for my account and beat content faster and easier. Not spend 5 minutes, 10 minutes on content. That's the next thing. Clan Boss, the weird flex for this one, since you've already hit Ultra Nightmare, it's now doing Ultra Nightmare in a reasonable time. If you scroll down here, I've already spent 1 key here, and I'm currently using a double man-eater team that can do 2 key Ultra Nightmare. I do have what it takes to do a 1 key Ultra Nightmare. I do have the stats, I do have the champion, Seeker, and double man-eater to do a 1 key Ultra Nightmare. But I don't see this as a weird flex that I need to achieve right now. One day it will be added to the weird flex list that I need to build a team that can 1 key Ultra Nightmare. But right now I need that gear for other more important content to be. That's why I'm not putting it on this team. So that's another extra one that I decided to add in this video. Let me know your milestones that changed your account below in the comments, and also let me know if you're an endgame player, some weird flex that you're currently trying to achieve because you've already beaten all these normal milestones that every player tries to achieve. I'll see you guys in the next video. Good night.